Beyond Brokeback, the impact of a film is a sampling of deeply moving personal stories prompted by Annie Proulx's short story, Brokeback Mountain, and the Ang Lee film which it inspired. A movie in which the ravages of self-denial are portrayed with unique frankness and realism. These stories, selected from contributions to an online forum dedicated to Brokeback Mountain, describe the fears, hopes, and aspirations of those readers and viewers for whom Brokeback Mountain is a revelation. Here, the cathartic power of great writing and great filmmaking is clearly evident, as no other story or film has inspired so many of its audience to personal, positive change. New color. I was so touched, mesmerized, bowled over, and dumbstruck over the love scenes. It is like seeing a color I've never before experienced, as if love itself has been reinvented. And yet there is an absolute reverence for and protectiveness towards what these two men are experiencing, and respect for their privacy and God-given feelings for one another. So it is not a voyeuristic thing, but a savoring of the art, beauty, and spirituality that make up physical love on this level. Sarah. Love wore a black hat. Love rode up in a black hat, black truck beat up dust cloud like a twister, steps out long and lean as electric wire. Love rode up in a black hat, shook my hand like a salesman, sell me something I don't need. Handshake sealed the deal right off. Love wore hisself a black hat, set just so over cool drink, cool blue eyes you could drown in. Dare to jump off that cliff to the center of nowhere. Last one in. Hell drove away in a black hat, drove away my guts turned inside out. Guts upon dead pavement, alleyway, no shelter to that bitter dust. B-73. I haven't posted much during the last days. Just brief comments. I have been overwhelmed by this blog, and there just doesn't seem to be enough time to follow all the threads and discussions and get to know how some people think. A couple of days ago, someone asked in some thread if the effect of Brokeback is somehow related to Jungian archetypes. I have no idea, but it got me thinking. In moments like this, I curse that English isn't my first language. I am frustrated already about the fact that I cannot express myself as eloquently as I would hope, and you deserved, but be patient with me. I try to be coherent. I started to think about power of narratives. To put a very long story and theory in short, I have worked in the field of psychiatric rehabilitation for 2 decades. So I have been interested in people's life stories. I have never been interested in interpreting experiences or incidents in those stories as part of the therapeutic process. I have been more focused on narratives, how and what people tell about their lives. I have always wondered how people get the bravery, hope, and stamina they need in order to recover from something so painful as psychiatric illness. I still do. So I started to listen to those stories and created something that you might call a description of process. A list of problems, questions, challenges, and phases people go through when they start to recover. Then I started to share that with my clients in groups. But the crucial part was that I worked with someone who was in recovery and told his or her story to the group. One of the themes nearly always present in those stories was the sense of losing meaning and purpose in life. That illness itself and consequences of it have robbed them the sense of continuity. Their stories get broken. In the middle of the crisis, it is almost impossible to combine the experience of loss, fear, pain to the earlier life events, and at the same time, keeping the feeling of continuity of life and the idea of future. Many of them get stuck in pain without direction. Hearing stories of others and combining them with knowledge of the possibility of recovery and hope gives them opportunity to share, but also a frame of reference for that sharing. They reflect their lives and experiences to the stories that are being told and start seeing sense in the story of their own. I believe that in life, we can get disconnected from our life stories in the same way. Intense experiences, betrayals, disappointments, lost loves and emotions they wake in us are so painful that we cannot face them. We rationalize them. We give them interpretations and meanings, but most importantly, we insulate ourselves from our emotions. Especially for many gays, this is familiar. We learn very early to hide our yearning and love, downplay our identity, and hide our disappointments and losses. Because we often do not share these experiences, we develop a personal language of loss, language that is sometimes very hard for others to understand. We seek connection and sharing, but because we are disconnected from our own feelings and our emotional history, these connections often fail us. We do not have the same language. Brokeback Mountain has done something very seldom a movie can. It has provided us all a frame of reference to reflect our pain, sorrow, joy, love, hopes, and aspirations. It gave us all a mirror to look at ourselves. It gave us a story that we could emotionally attach, and this forum provided a place to share our feelings. Brokeback provided us with language of loss that we could all understand. Brokeback hit us directly in the heart and ripped our protective layers to shreds. It left us vulnerable and raw, but also alive. Brokeback cannot provide meaning and purpose to our lives, but it has exposed the need, shown to us that we may have lost our direction and we need to reclaim it. As a gay man, I realized that we lost the stories of previous generations to AIDS. It took away thousands and thousands of men who could have taught us, told us their stories. We weren't left without stories altogether, because we heard incredible stories of pain, loss, love and sorrow, bravery and commitment in face of death. But we didn't get to share the stories of love and life. We had no frame of reference. We had to create stories without the wisdom of earlier generations, and also without affirming stories in culture around us. Now I know that there are millions of stories worth telling and sharing. Our stories have never been told. The stories of love, lust, happiness and joy, of betrayal, loss, tragedy and pain. The stories that we could relate to, that would speak of us. Brokeback does that. It is a movie of basic humanity and choices, love and denial, but it is also our story. I don't know. Maybe you get the idea. Hopefully. Yari Koskisu'u. Boris. Selected from among the most compelling writing on the Ultimate Brokeback Forum, the stories in Beyond Brokeback, The Impact of a Film, convey the remarkable power of the 2005 film Brokeback Mountain to affect the lives of all sorts of people, straight and gay, old and young, male and female, on 6 continents. Ranging from the amusing to the emotionally devastating. The pieces collected in Beyond Brokeback crystallize the deep, frequently life-changing reactions of its often unsuspecting viewers.